Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. So today I wanted to address purple, gear and talk about it because it is an ongoing conversation in the community. Now, it is a pet peeve more than anything. I don't think it affects anything in the overall scheme of things. You know, you have one or two or three purple items in a run. It's not going to hurt you. You're just going to crush them or whatever. But I think there is a philosophy behind it that this development team is implementing but not being consistent with. So I'm going to use massive zone implementation to argue against purple loot. So let's jump in the video and we're probably going to, I'll hear your thoughts in the comment section on what you think. So when you progress in your open world, this is when you've hit level, gear score 515 or world tier 5 or whatever. If you're on level 40, you should not be getting purple loot after a specific difficulty. In fact, I would argue that when you even hit normal difficulty, you should no longer be getting purple loot gear on the level 40 side of things, or even at max gear score 515. And back when Warlords of New York first, was dropped, purple gear was actually rolling high stats for you to be able to up your recalibration library. I think when you're progressing to level 40, then definitely you can get some purple items that should roll well for you, so you can either transfer into your recalibration library or use as placeholders in your build. But once you hit level 40, then you should not be seeing any of those items drop, because those items are actually categorized as specialized items and they should not be good as high ends. There is a discrepancy between, their armor rolls at least. And so they have a little bit of a holdback that makes them less effective than the high-end items. So let's look into Massive's implemented system. So if you look at the world tier system, after you hit level 30, from world tier 1 to world tier 5, you start getting items that are gear score based. Those gear score items are supposedly, less effective than your max level item at world tier 5, where you're getting gear score 500 items. So once you hit gear score 500, all your gear will now start rolling at a higher gear score tier, 490 something to 500, or 480 something through 500. At that point, when you're in world tier 5, you will no longer be getting any world tier 3 items or world tier 2 items, except you're running in that world tier with another agent and you start getting gear score 250 items. But if you're running in world tier 5 and you start seeing gear score 250 items, that doesn't feel rewarding. And that is exactly the mentality that a lot of players have when they run in heroic difficulty and they open the chest and boom, it's a purple item. Even though the purple item inherently might not be a bad thing, it's just that the consistency of the implementation is not flowing through to the higher difficulty. So what you're telling your players is the higher the difficulty you go or play at, the less rewarding the game becomes for you. So I think what Massive is saying is, we know that our community is actually very good at this game and can be really hardcore grindy, but we also want the game to not necessarily reward the most hardcore players. Hence, even at the highest or higher difficulties, your loot quality should still, I can't speak. Your loot quality should still have a randomness that allows for you to still gain very subpar items so that you don't easily quickly hit the max level difficulty. I disagree with that premise. It's one thing to want players to have a longevity of playtime, and it's another thing to make the game super rewarding so that at the end of the day, players cannot say this game doesn't reward me. It's another thing for you to also say, well, at the same time, we gave you the opportunity to gain all the best and all the better gear without the RNG always stifling you at every turn. And then if you say at the end of the day, I've done everything, then that's your business. You can put the game down and say, I'm going to come back when there's something new to do. This is what RPG games usually are like. MMO games of this sort that have loot-based systems are usually like that. Players play them for a specific period of time, put it down, and go play other games. And then maybe one day come back and say, oh, there's something I haven't done. And then they start working on that. Because right now, Warlords of New York is a very wide expansion. It really is. It has a lot to do. Shade levels up to 1,000. People are sitting there farming the Warhound spawn. Who knew that the Warhound spawn will be more popular than a lot of the other systems in the game? But that's what people are doing, trying to get their shade level up to 1,000 to max out their stats. But you can also do the 5 directives as well. Use people, get a few competent players, and you will be fine, and you'll get some really good XP on shorter missions anyways. You could do something like maybe Lincoln Memorial. You can do Jefferson Trade Center. These missions, well, Jefferson is not as short as it could be. Grand Washington is shorter, and these don't have too many enemy encounters that you would probably, meet if you were doing something like the Warhound mission or whatever. But looking at everything and putting all of this in perspective, it goes to show that players don't want to feel any sense of being unrewarded for the amount of work, skill, playtime that they actually, implement or even put into the game. So I think the purple loot system just needs to go away because you have graduated. And then the second layer is even arguing with the Division 1. If you play a legendary mission in Division 1, you basically don't see any purple items. You're basically going to be picking up gear. You're going to be picking up, specialized high-end items as well. I don't remember. There might be some purple items in, legendary, but I don't remember there being. And the reason I'm using legendary is because the difficulty system in Division 1 is different from the one in Division 2. We have a lot more, that's actually more general than you did in Division 1. So legendary was like the heroic of, what we have now. And then you also had your incursions, which also had their heroic and legendary difficulties as well. And when you played on those levels, the gear that you got was always good gear. I mean, even if you didn't need it or want it, the gear, the APC in Falcon Lost, I don't remember whenever that APC ever dropped a purple item for me. And I played Falcon Lost so much. In fact, it's still one of my favorite incursions till this day. So when you go into a heroic mission, when you go into a challenging mission, and you do the tasks, or when you're in, New York, playing those New York missions at higher level difficulties, I don't think you should be getting that purple item because the development team themselves don't even believe you should be getting the purple items in the game at that difficulty, because from their prior game and even from the implementation to roll from level 1 through level 30 and from level 30 through World Tier 5, gear score 500 or 515, that system doesn't really show that it's something valid. Once you start moving through level 40, doing heroic open world, legendary missions are a whole different talk by themselves. We should never see purple gear there at all. The game needs to feel rewarding to agents because the RNG is brutal by itself, hitting you at every corner. So at least get high-end items in every turn when you're playing at higher level difficulties to reduce your chances of being shafted by the RNG when you're looking for a specific item. This is my opinion about this. I think, the developers need to make sure that in the next update, they can actually transform the loot pool. And even a small change like that can go a long way. So that's it for me. I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. Let us talk about this. I think this is something that needs to continue to be resounded. And, the development team needs to just say, if the players don't feel rewarded for these things, then we need to take them out because we're going to get more seasons. Hopefully next season is going to come with some new gear sets. Hopefully it's going to come with some new named items. And when you're farming in that, level of the open world, you don't want to, have some purple item pushing the RNG possibility of you getting a named item away further from your reach, if you get what I mean. So, like I said in the comment section, let's talk to you guys hopefully in the next video. Peace.